Hello and welcome back, everybody. Game 2 on the horizon between DSG and Mirage Alliance. What a crazy game 1 coming. I'm still, like, my heart rate's still coming down for that one. We're still reacting to it. We're still going to have to calm down a little bit. Somebody check on Toast, make sure he's doing all right. Because that one came down to the wire. Tenacity had the back door just to end the game.
That game was something else, you know? It was, a lot of things happened in that game. Some were good, some were not good. And I think what matters most is that there was a lot of pressure on both teams for that one. And Disguise ended up coming through in the end because they gave Polar Bear movement speed buffs. And we forgot about that.
Well, an important note is that... Yeah, true. Hey, I'm happy we got to see the Volley Bear again. We were both celebrating that earlier on. But... specifically, I want to highlight the implications of this series again for anybody who maybe missed the setup for game number 1 or some of the conversations we were having. If DSG can win this series right here, one more game win will get them the series, then they will be tied with Lit Esports and AoE. Even though they have more series to play out, they have the same number of series wins against them. Good chance that Disguised will be able to sneak out of that promotion relegation tournament and make it into playoffs here for NACL. So if you're a Disguised fan, this series is very important, but they also have matches against Lit and AoE. So Disguised have their destiny in their own hands. If they just keep winning, they will make it into playoffs. They can guarantee that as long as they string together back-to-back wins. But it starts with this one, and already, even if it was a little messy, this is promising as they picked up game 1.
It was very messy. That was the, and if you like scrambled eggs in the morning, that's what my head's going through right now. Still thinking about that game. So
not even an omelet.
No. Maybe game 2 we make an omelet because we actually put things together well. But let's look at some of the things that we can't add to the omelet in this upcoming game, as we are in Fearless Draft, and we have some champs that each respective team cannot pick for themselves in game 2.
Yeah. None of these ingredients are available for for the respective teams, rather, going into this next one. So DSG, they ended the game with a TF ulting onto the Nexus. They cannot do that again. I liked the Hui set of bot lane. I thought that was pretty fun. I'd say Young on the Talia, all things considered, actually had a really solid performance. I know that we've been talking as we hop into draft here. Individual performers on DSG and who we're most impressed by. I'm still giving shout-outs to Young. He's the returning member from the championship roster, and I think out of everybody on DSG, he's been the most consistently performing in the game 1 there, I think, backing up that claim.
When I think of game 1, Young was the person that drove me the least insane. So I think that Young had a really nice game 1.
Yeah, outplays RJS in the 1v1 mid. You know, he gets a huge Weaver's wall to turn the play topside. I think Young actually played pretty well.
Yeah, I think that it was a decent look from Young. But Disguise returning the blue side on this game. Expect to see Mirage Alliance to continue their bans. Seraphine will be off the table here. And a lot of top lane bans targeted at Alorum. Again, Alorum. Different champ pool, plays it damn well. I will give Alorum a lot of credit. I think that some people write him off because of the champ pool. He plays it well. Like, his Malphite had its moments in the last game. You do get brutally, kited out if you don't connect with those engages. And we really saw, because our comps clash so much, we really saw, how those fights play out, come to fruition a lot of times. Because we just kept fighting.
Quite often.
Yeah.
And we, again, saw a lack of synergy between members of Mirage to execute at the same time for the same plays. That's why, if I'm looking at this team, I actually favor them when they draft a little greedy, when they go for picks that don't require 5 champions working together to pull off, and rather you have individual pieces that can get their own leads. So we'll see if they adapt and try and pivot towards that. It's a heavy focus on Manui's champ pool in the bot lane. Not going to be the Hui, not going to be the Senna, and it won't be Ashe, Seraphine, or Varus either.
No surprises there, quite frankly, especially given that Senna first pick. I want to see Orianna. I think Orianna could be very much worth considering, but no, it's actually Emilio coming in. That gives you the Aphelios or Lucian combo. I'd say given Manui's champion pool, I have seen him play both. I think his Aphelios is very good. And I like the Aphelios combo a lot, especially if it's a shorter range composition you're going up against, because the ability to have Aphelios guns interact at a longer range is very big.
Smolder Blitzcrank?
I mean, if I see Smolder Blitz, it's doable. You get
Dardoch lights a Blitzcrank, and it's really good into the Melio.
You can Lucian, though, and that's kind of hard. Like,
true.
Lucian Melio, you have the ability to not interact with the... okay. We're going to flex Gragas a little bit. I like Gragas against Millia. You can split up teams. Definitely something that they can hold throughout the draft for Will, Alorum, and Dardoch. Of course, Dardoch being the jungler. I have seen him play some Gragas support. It's not bad.
But it is flexible in solo lanes as well right now. We've seen even in LEC, other major regions pull this out as a solo laner right now. So it's going to be Vi for parry, and we are pairing Lucian with that Melio in the bot lane.
Talia would be pretty heavy magic damage, but I wouldn't mind Talia. Just to prevent Lucian dashes and have some map control to try and make plays.
Sure.
Also, to hold the line really well for Smolder later on, but no, it's going to be double marksman. So RJS will have his mid pick to play against Vi and has 2 bans to throw out at Young. No TF available. Tristana also is decent against Lucian later on in the side lanes, especially because RJS will be solo XP, whereas Lucian will be split XP.
Yeah, Orianna makes a lot of sense here as a mid lane ban. I'm wondering what else. When I think about Young's champ pool, I also think of things like Akali. I don't know if you have thoughts like if that's worth a ban here or if Tristana can handle that champ just fine.
I like the Akali ban because there's a Vi, so the Akali Vi combo is pretty strong. So I think I'm with you there.
Well, let's see what Mirage Alliance decide to ban out here. I'm expecting a mid laner. They haven't shown top lane yet. Will is still flexing that Gragas. Could be jungle, could technically be support or top lane as well. So maybe we'll get a hint of that right here. But Yasuo, okay, sure. So, but again, another mid focus here, something that Young has pulled out.
Young showed the Yasuo really well. High key, you know what I hope to see from Young? His Aurelia is nasty, and I think Aurelia is kind of a tough matchup. And it's funny because he may not even be the best Aurelia player on his team, because that's probably Tenacity. But his Aurelia is really good, and it is a pick that Disguise could use. It's a good matchup in the Tristana, so maybe we see Young dig deep. They would have to find magic damage elsewhere, but it's doable. And
yeah, I mean, Rumble's up, so maybe they would go for like a Rumble top lane with an Aurelia then in the mid lane. Okay, we are looking at the potential supports locked in. The Blitzcrank cover is the one I expect. It's classic into that Melio, but you are right. The Lucian might make that a little less enticing because the Lucian will just out DPS the Smolder early on, even if you get that big pull.
It is something that it's still so good in the Melio. Like if you hook the Melio's fight's over.
They're just dead, yeah.
And so I do like the pick a lot. Also, Vi, you kind of telegraph where you go. I will say that if you're going to pick Blitz, or was planning on it, for me, that's like more reason to pick Talia. Because the hook through Unraveled Earth is actually really strong. And with all the, at least, targeted CC, I think Young going on Azir, not surprised here. It is a way to avoid Blitzcrank roams. He will get timers against the Melio. His Blitz out of lane, Melio is kind of tough to match. Because again, you just get one shot if you get dragged in.
Yeah.
So I think some safety there for Young makes sense, even if that's not, straight up the greatest matchup for Azir. I think that overall, looking at the game, it's safety, and see how we round things out here. Alorum Renekton?
Okay. So
Alorum Renekton.
It's surprising.
Wow.
We've been seeing Alorum on primarily tanks, primarily frontliners, but this is what I want to see. Play greedy if you are Mirage Alliance. When I see Smolder, I see you just want to stack. You're not interested as much in like the playing for the team early on. If you're Blitzcrank, you want to roam, make plays happen. If you're Tristana, you want to be in that solo lane. If you're Renekton, you want to outplay.
Hold on.
This is where I think Mirage might actually be able to pick up these wins when they focus more on their own play rather than everybody sticking together as a cohesive unit.
I got to go through the stats because it's Alorum. I think this is Alorum's first ever competitive game of Renekton.
No way.
I'm on GOL. It goes back to Season 6.
No way. First ever Renekton game?
First ever Renekton for Alorum. And honestly, what is a do-or-die game, if we're going to be honest, too?
That's kind of crazy, actually, that this player has been in the LCS, in Academy, in NACL, all over the place.
Hold on.
How has he never played Renekton?
I need to use other stats here. Yeah, he's his first comp game of Renekton. He's never played it. Wow. That's kind of fun.
That's crazy. I mean, we know that Alorum's got a weird champ pool, right? How many Urgot games has Alorum played? Since you have it up.
58.
Is he like, what?
58 Urgot games.
58 competitive Urgot games and he's never played Renekton?
Nope.
What?
I mean, I will say that, like, in theory, Aatrox does counter, like, the vast majority of Alorum's champ pool.
Sure.
So, I don't know. I think it's kind of fun for him to, like, really switch it up and show something new. I mean, Alorum is a player. He's been around for a while, but, the Cassante was a bit of a surprise. I don't think his Cassante was the best, but he was willing to pull it out, and now willing to pull out the Renekton. It's a champ that he's seen a lot of. His pool's built to counter, and I'm sure that he's going to have a unique take or approach on it. Renekton is decent on this patch. It did see some pretty significant buffs, and might have been enough to tilt this matchup one-sided. Alorum feels like it's worth it.
I mean, I feel like we got to keep looking at those stats, though. Like, is there anything else crazy going on there? What else is, like, the most standard? Renekton has to be all-time one of the most popular top laners, right?
Oh, yeah,
for
sure.
Champions.
Renekton's a core champ. By the way, we are not quite yet in the game. We did have a player PC. It needs to be rebooted, so we are killing a couple seconds here. I mean, he's got 54 games at Ornn and 49 games at Scion. And both those champs do really well against Renekton, you know?
Oh, wow.
So that's the unique answer, at least, to what we got cooking top lane.
I mean, we know that about Alarm, like I had said, though. He does have this super unique champion pool. It's just, that's so funny.
Honestly,
to me, man.
I would have loved
He's
to be
been
picked
competing
Wukong here. Wukong is like an old signature pick of his from solo queue. Wukong would have been really good here. I'm like being honest, you know, we already saw it in Aatrox. It won, not because of how it did in the lane, but it's doable.
True.
Kind of surprised.
But again, what I see about Renekton is a champion that if you get a lead, you can play for yourself a little bit. You're not necessarily trying to play as like this frontline engage for the team. So, also
like looking at the Tristana Smolder, you scale. You don't need another scaling element top side. So Aloran bringing some strength to the table early game, like to kind of get Smolder and Tristana the later stages. It makes sense to me, right? Because now, really all Aloran has to do is hold the Vi and the Aatrox in place, peel the Tristana Smolder, and you should be good.
Do we think it's going to be enough for
I thought you were gonna
Mirage Alliance? What was that?
I thought we were going to the game. I was like,
I got a little excited too. But we have some time to, kind of dissect what happened in that draft phase, as well as the situation Mirage find themselves in here, kind of broader strokes, because again, we are having to redo draft behind the scenes before we actually get into the game. So the question stands, Cubby, is this enough?
I just want to see better games from both of our teams, honestly. The last game was so sloppy in a lot of aspects, and it is a do or die game. And if both these teams don't want to, be relegated or face relegation in the promotion tournament, we're going to have to see better gameplay, because some of the teams we have in OQs are quite scary, too. I mean, Winthrop, Aporia, now Blue Otter, like, those are good teams. And I haven't seen all the tape on them. I've seen a lot of tape on Winthrop, given just what I've covered in the past. And that's a team that I know a lot of our bottom NACL teams, A, will practice against, and B, are probably scared of. So it's really important that, you get to keep that spot. Every game matters, especially for Mirage Alliance. They need to find that next 2 victories that they want to have a chance, really, to avoid relegation.
And I think part of the reason it's such a surprise is that expectation. I remember when we were streaming, you and I were both doing a lot of the Champs Q streams on the patch before pros were actually playing it live during the LCS and NACL seasons. And people in my chat were like, how good's Mirage going to be? Like, are they going to win this split? Like, look at the names, look at the brand power on this team. And I had a concern back then is like, okay, but it's never just the individual performance. It's how everybody links together. That's why we talk about that so much, and why we're maybe a little more critical of a team like this than we would be a team with a bunch of rookies coming on. Because, I mean, Alorem, even RGS a little bit, Prismal a tiny bit, Dardoch, like they've had that LCS experience, right?
That's true, but also, like, I had Mirage Alliance, like, probably 7, 8, or 9 in there.
Okay.
And I had Disguised, like everyone else, top 4. I had them 4th in my standings. That was lower than everyone else, right? So in that aspect, like, Disguised, they have pretty early choice in terms of, like, where players go. Like, the teams that get to pick their players first are FlyQuest, TLC, and Disguised. And TLC, they've, like, started to make the rebound, right? I think TLC definitively is, like, we're seeing better gameplay out of them. We haven't seen that yet out of Disguised despite the expectations. So in a way, I feel like they're more disappointing. So I find it funny, like, bringing up Mirage Alliance given the names. But I had higher expectations for Disguised, much higher expectations than this compared to Mirage Alliance.
Interesting. Okay, well, I mean, yes, if we're talking about name power, Tenacity, Poom, also up there having that LCS experience. But I just think that Mirage, when you see names like Alorem and Dardoch in particular, you really have that expectation for them. But I actually had a chance to chat or ask Prismal some questions before going into this series, and I was asking about that, like, kind of, what are your thoughts on the performance, not only of Mirage, but also DSG, of both these teams having some of that star power on them and struggling to perform? And I mean, he said pretty much what we've been talking about. He's like, look, it's not just about the individual performers. It is about how everybody links up as a unit. And so far, Mirage just haven't been able to do that. They haven't been able to agree on how they want to play out the game and how they should approach those. So all that is to say, I'm still happier with drafts like this. If there are, different people on the team that have different opinions of what they need to be doing at different times, give them the tools to make their own plays, because then at least they can try it out on their own, and it will probably look better if they have a champion that can execute individually rather than everything needing to fit together. So all that is to say, I think that this is going to be a better shot for Mirage Alliance, but I think it's safe to say this is the last shot for Mirage Alliance. If they don't pick up this game win and then this series win, they got to get back-to-back. They are like 99% out of playoffs. I think it's actually 100%. I'm not quite sure on that. Would have to check the exact foldy sheet. I haven't looked at all the numbers myself. I don't know, Cubby, if you have any more information on that, but it's virtually impossible for them to avoid that promotion tournament. So
it's pretty much impossible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like at least Lit or Disguise, like because Disguise plays the other groups that like would be at 2 wins, like they're guaranteed like to get to more than that, right? Yeah. So just like Area of Effect and Lit are the other 2 teams with 2 wins. Disguise plays both of them. That means that like someone will get to 2 or 3 out of them, at least.
Good point.
Like that's at least. So again, if Mirage Alliance lose this, that's it. Like, they're done pretty much. So a lot on the line here for this game. Yeah.
Against Mirage Alliance, they need to string together 2-game wins. Then the series one against FlyQuest in the final week if they want to avoid that promotion relegation tournament. DSG starting off, trying to get the momentum behind them as they are looking to avoid that tournament as well, just with a much easier strength of schedule. Let's see what Mirage Alliance try to do here. They have an early stack up in the top jungle. The Blitzcrank, I do like it when teams opt for this type of play. Go for an invade with that Blitzcrank, but they're not actually going to go all the way. Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. They will walk forward.
A couple things I want to highlight diving into this in terms of some of our choices. We have Manui with the First Strike and Ignite. It's very much built around the Burstier Lucian combos. So your goal for that is when you have First Strike up, use the Milio Sums, you dash in or go in as Lucian and just get all the damage down that you can. And then RJS, curiously enough, going for Halo Blades. So much shorter trades for RJS. No fleet sustain. But he does have a little bit more kill threat early on against this year.
Gets down a ward here to track the early jungling of Perry. Will be spotted on that. Interesting movement from him right there. I was wondering what he was going to try to do if he's actually going to start hitting those. Instead, we'll opt for an early trade onto Young. So, tracking the junglers, I believe. Actually, there was no ward placed down from DSG, so they don't know exactly where Will's going to be.
Something that at least they can hide. Also, pathing towards Alorum's interesting. I wonder if they're going to try and set up some sort of dive on Tenacity.
Could be. A lot of early wards placed by Mirage Alliance. They see Perry where he started. They see exactly where he went. So, perfect information on the first 2 camps right now. It's
going to be a nice reverse clear, though, because Perry has a winning lane bot, so if he gets bot, he can at least play towards that. We're going to see Young. Nice sidestep there, and RGS, pretty big mistake to actually take the tower shot. Really well played by Young so far. He was able to space.
Was trying to get that full Halo Blades triple shot there to stack up the bomb.
They spaced the rocket jump into to dodge out on the slow. That is also another stack on the explosive charge. So yeah, Perry's going to reverse clear, so the camps that could be under threat, like if Will were to invade them and where you'd have the support of the Renekton, are taken. Now he can go towards his bot lane that will be winning, and that will be the crab that Perry will have access to. So I think overall not bad.
Very similar to the first series of the day. We saw similar clears come out from, I believe it was Chad. Or no, it was Kenvi at that moment against Chad. But yeah, the defensive clear from the Vi, you're really trying to hit that level 6 as quickly as you can. Once you have that big ultimate available, you can just kind of make any play that you want happen. Bot lane's getting shoved in here as DSG are utilizing the power of the Lucian and the Melio, but Prismal's doing a good job of farming underneath the turret. It's really mid lane that's the biggest differential right now. Nasty's going to catch a wave topside. Young is heavily out trading RJS, though.
Yeah, RJS is actually going to be forced to base, almost, as he's dings the level to get some health. This lane is definitely not going the way that RGS would have wanted it to go. Gonna walk way back to make sure he gets that TP down. Because between that tower shot, missing out on some of the early Halo Blades trade windows, he's pretty far behind. Doesn't have the fleet sustain, or in this case, the grass sustain that Young does. As Young went for a very safe lane with the grasp. He's really making sure that he can't get killed by this Tristana taking a rune like that.
Will's hovering top. You were highlighting, hinting at the potential of a dive, and I think we're actually going to get it here. Alorm stacking up the Rage bar.
Comes the
Tenacity
ward.
will drop the ward. They see Will, so how does Tenacity want to play this now? He's running away from the turret, getting away from the Renekton. Will lands the CC, lands the slow, but will not get the backup of Alorm, who's just a little too far away, so they'll proxy the wave, and Tenacity has to back.
Still pretty well done, though, by Mirage Alliance and Alorm. Yeah, Tenacity will TP back, but Alorm can walk back now. And that's a nice TP advantage. Alorm will also get the plate. Well done.
You see this back. I mean, you know that you're on vision there, Will, so Perry actually joins in. It's a big wave for Tenacity, so I don't think he wants to join in. Perry will just stop Will's back a little bit longer.
It's not that big of a deal. They will spot Will on this Gromp if that's where Will wants to go. If anything, that's just opened up a potential grub timer.
Wow, that was bold of
some good spacing.
Good guy support, though, holding the wave for his bot laner.
He was able to space it all, you know? He's fine.
I just can't believe he didn't get punished for that.
I knew he was going to stop the space, too. Well done.
Yeah,
really well done
really
by
rough.
Disguise. Yeah, there have been some nice early moments from Disguise landing as a team, and I mean, it's good to see it. Like, this is why, you know, part of why Disguise has been disappointing is we know these guys have game, right? We know these individuals are good. We've seen them perform at higher levels than this across the board. It's just they haven't been able to put it together as a team, and it's too bad because, like, we know these guys are good. We can see good moments. I think that the lane's been going really nicely so far for Disguise. They just have to try and transition it, kind of like they were last game to a win. Just hoping this time it's a bit cleaner.
As bot lane aside, mid lane RGS does actually shove the wave in. Young went for a second back and he used the TP earlier. And then on this back has to walk to lane. So RGS did get a turret plate. We'll go for his own back now. Let's see how much the Tristana can purchase with that. Shouldn't be too much. Longsword right now. Boots picked up. And another longsword. Okay. Still feels pretty good, all things considered. As Dragon started up now by Perry. Boom and Manui push the wave. And I don't think there's a response for Mirage.
Yeah, bot prio. Again, like, if you don't land hooks as start off, it's, you know, the lane's not really playable. Milio Lucian are going to have the ability to, you know, walk up. So, no play here. And Will going to be a little bit behind the clear. But will have access to grubs. Again, this is where the strength and Mirage Alliance's comp is. It's with the Renekton on the top side at this point in the game. Lorem and Will doing a nice job of making sure that Aatrox is not able to get ahead. Lorem has an item advantage early on. Caulfield's Warhammer.
Will help out in the 1v1 trades. Also has that level lead over Tenacity from the early gank from Will. So even though it didn't turn into a kill, we can feel the repercussions of it. As Will now has a strong top laner to play through to get those grubbed. You're right, it's a little slow though. It's going to be desynced with the Dragon. 4 minutes, 15 seconds till that second Dragon comes up for DSG. Let's see if Perry and Will interact with each other. It's been a pretty slow early game in terms of jungle action outside of that one gank attempt in the top lane. And now Will actually goes for an invade here onto Perry. Has the smite, gets it, I believe. Yeah, there we go. It's level 6, explosive cast to disengage. A little belly dance just to rub it in.
And that's risky from Will. Look at Perry's XP bar on the bottom left of your screen. If he gets another camp, he hits 6. So if Will misses that,
he's
dead.
One of these wolves, he gets it. And Young's here. This is really aggressive from Will. Perry's got smite. He can just smite the big wolf. Gets it. Has level 6, but actually backs away because Alorm was much faster than Tenacity.
Well, no map, no play on the map, no more. I mean, Will's cruises on out. Perry's okay with that. He's going to shift his power bot side where Prismal and Dardoch are coming off a reset. And Perry should be able to take some camps away from Will in return. Oh,
Ilio flank?
Yeah, that's okay.
Ilio flank.
Yeah, Prismal can't show
Prismal
there.
has to pop the ghost, has flash available, but here comes Boom. The kick lands, and now Vault Breaker, he is dead. First blood to Perry.
Well, I mean, Prismal just doesn't have control over that side of the map. This wave was pushed in, so it was on a bounce. Tough spot. Nothing for Dardoch to do now either. You want to hear the real
Colorcaster breakdown, you just got to say, Vibe presses are cease and desist kills. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this game continues to be more and more interesting.
Yeah, I'm really not sure where to go from this one. I mean, the Smolder seems to be the late game win condition for the team. But when it's getting put behind like this is now 20 CS lead for Manui. Dardoch went for a roam and didn't get anything for it because he didn't fully commit. Yeah, I mean, we saw him when Will was going for that invade. Dardoch was hovering around the top half of the map, but hasn't made anything else happen on the Blitzcrank. So they're really just losing out on the bot side and haven't found another play in response outside of just Alorm having that lead. And now DSG are back onto the map here. They're going for the play onto RJS. Scoops him in towards Poom and Perry, but Perry wasn't quite in range to make anything happen there.
All right. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about here, Kangas. There's no objectives up. We're just kind of cruising.
Wait,
I think that...
I prepared for this moment, Gubby.
Oh, what do you got?
I got something. I was asking members from both teams stuff we could talk about during the game, their thoughts on the match, their thoughts on their seasons, things like that.
Yeah.
But we've talked about most of that already. I asked each of them one other question, and I'm curious your thought as well. I asked Manui and Prismal, what is your favorite Pixar movie? And I'll tell you, one of them had the correct answer, one of them had the incorrect answer. I'll let you guess which one.
I mean, the
Manui
correct
said Finding Nemo, and Prismal said Up. Which one do you think is correct?
Personally, I like Finding Nemo better. So that's correct for me.
I thought we had a thing going, Cubby. I thought that you were special.
I mean, the real right answer has to be Toy Story or Monsters, Inc. Let's be real.
It's Up. It's
no,
just
it's
the
not
best
Up.
movie.
I mean, it's heartfelt. It's meaningful. But it didn't have the same impact on my childhood as the other ones.
Well, Prismal's my goat. Cubby continues to disappoint as Young gets pushed out of mid-wave here. RGS teleports back in and can maybe get another plate for it as well. Here's what Chad thinks, though. Up. Finding Nemo. Oh. Will thinks here. Does I think Suzzle Cask onto Perry. Dardoch's coming in here. Perry does have the flash available. Vault Breakers over the wall. Does not need to flash. He gets out of there.
Yeah, it will be 6 grubs, most likely from Mirage Alliance, as Alt was burned from Will, but it does force Perry out. Grubs just spawned. Young will get a plate with the Demolish. Should be no dive bot.
Ama comes down to help clear out the wave as Prismal will try and run away. Still taking a lot of damage. They have no hard engage, but I don't know if it matters. Poom's going to go down. Has to throw out.
They can't continue.
Just to stay
that is
alive.
Big. Like, at least the rotation means they can't continue, and DSG throw their tempo for a potential dragon away by failing that dive.
Interesting to see how things can play out from here. I think that they can still go for it just because they should know that Will's on the top camp instead. Grub's taken. Will's going to try and beeline it down to Dragon. Can they make it there in time? Nope.
No,
does not look like
no
it.
Play. All right, well, they still were able to get that. That's fine. Will gets 6 grubs. He's cruising the other side of the map. And I still think, like, I mean, we haven't really talked about, like, hey, what does it mean if this is a slow game, more controlled? I favor where Disguise is at right now. I think having a little bit of a gold lead, they're going to have pretty sound carry later on in this Azir that is going to be going for this tank Azir build with the grass. So it's going to be the Leandri's Riftmaker, making sure that you are shredding in these elongated fights and can't really die. As Poom's on a solo war mission, he's dead.
Yep. Walks in as the Melio. Interesting type of situation here. We see, what? Okay, they're taking their time with it. Oh, almost gets the Q in time.
Yeah, I think they wanted to give it to RJS potentially. If not the case, RJS will look base now. Also important to note that
Alorm,
this is good for
Dominus. World Ender by Tenacity. 1v1 for the Bruisers in the top lane. Tenacity so far is winning it.
Never mind.
Alorm trying to get the Rage Bar built up. Knock up. Oh, flash follow from Tenacity, and he picks up the solo kill.
I thought, so like Alorm will use the Empower W to break the Eclipse Shield. I thought Alorm might have had a chance, but Tenacity just chained all the sweet spots together.
Very well done by DSG's top laners. Now Perry's looking for another play on the bot side. Prismal does not have the flash, but does have Will in his back pocket, and he is spotted on that ward. That's part of why Perry does not commit to that play. Tenacity's about to 1v1 RJS as well. Doesn't have the ultimate available. RJS jumps in. It's the rocket jump resets. Actually just flashes forward. Sweet spot knockup. Rocket jump in. Another sweet spot. Tenacity. I think he can take this. Buster shot available for RJS. He's got to use it for the damage. He gets it. Very close fight, but RJS comes out on top.
Conqueror was all the way proc. Tenacity didn't have his cooldowns back up. RGS manages to calculate that one as he holds on, but Perry might be looking for more. Bit awkward. RGS holding the wall there. If you hold that wall, you were not spotted from the brush. So him actually walking to the wall might have saved his life.
I think so. Perry, though, knows that there's no Tristana there. We see the Renekton in the mid lane. And we have some priority because our bot lane rotated up, so we're going to go for the Herald. This will give Smolder some much-needed time in the bot lane to stack up on the waves, get some gold from the plates, but it will get DSG another objective.
Herald maybe cashing out a turret later on. Honestly, nice to deny Herald against the team that does have 6 grubs, as Herald plus 6 grubs does pretty significant amount of damage, actually. It's like the one way that Herald feels super useful on this new patch. Or I should say this new season.
I will say, though, I think it feels worse knowing that the Prismal on the Smolder now has 1 plate left and will actually take first turret. I think denying Smolder stacks, denying Smolder gold, might be more important than padding your own pockets at this point. You said that you favor DSG later, but Smolder's still a terror in the late game.
It is. I just think that, like, this mid-game, there is nothing that Mirage Alliance can do to contest. RGS is behind. Renekton is far enough behind now where it's going to be paper. And this Azir can really go off, as this is a weird dive.
Yeah, Dardoch goes in, takes the turret, did not expect Perry and Prismal there. I think that they assumed it was only Tenacity, and they get punished for it.
Well, that wasn't pretty. This game's kind of dragging along here for Mirage Alliance, Kangas. Like, they're kind of playing for their season at this point. And it doesn't feel like they just have anything going on in the tank. Like, they can wait to hold out for the Smolder, but this guy's got the first 2 dragons. Yes, you have 6 grubs and Smolder that's stacking, but Prismal's still pretty far away from that. And we have another dragon spawning in 90 seconds, and I don't even know if Mirage Alliance can sniff this. Like, I think they're just too weak across the board to contest.
I think once Prismal hits 125 sacks, they can look to, but I don't think they'll have that in time for this dragon, so it might just be a dragon soul fight at that point. Prismal will get this next wave here. Nobody's around, so if he's confident enough to walk up, he can clear it. But a minute on the clock. Let's see how DSG want to approach. Young's in the top wave, has teleport, but he might just be able to walk down in time. Shoves that one in, so RJS is going to have to go up and catch. RJS is actually taking the red buff on his way. The Tristana grabbing a jungle camp. And will then catch the wave. DSG have multiple members here. Prismal's got to be a little careful. Flies away. And now we drop the Herald mid. So we're going for the turret before the dragon spawns. 35 seconds. I do like this play from DSG. They can guarantee the mid outer. Oh, teleport flank from RJS. There's a turret right there that limits the approach angles that you can have.
If RJS snuck in here, he can maybe set up.
I think he's
going to get a chunk.
I mean, looking at where Perry's walking, I think that they knew that that teleport came in.
They can attack Aatrox. This is not spotted.
Oh, Tenacity could be in some trouble. World Enders pop, no flash available, but it's RJS that starts tanking.
Oh, no.
So Tenacity gets out of there.
Oh, Alorum didn't have flash up from the last play. That would have been a nice setup to take down the Aatrox before this dragon spawn. As getting a dragon now could buy Smolder another 5 minutes. Still a decent angle from Mirage Alliance, but the fast track mid, Smolder will be cut off, and this will be a numbers advantage for DSG once Tenacity fixes this bot wave.
It's looking like Mirage Alliance wants to fight this one, though. They're not going with the game plan of let Smolder stack up and fight for the soul.
It's so
Instead,
hard for them.
They're committing to this play. Although we've also seen them do this in the past. Alorum's all alone, literally nobody nearby, but Dardoch pulls over the wall onto their side, but there's just no follow-up, so Perry says, that's fine. My team kills the Renekton. I re-engage onto RJS. As Wolf flashes away, RJS has to buster shot them out of there. Slow lands, but Tenacity with the dunk onto the Tristana. And DSG win a handy fight there. Catching members of Mirage out of position. And Young's not done. He looks for it, has to flash away from the rocket grab. But will get flash out of Will.
Getting a Azir flash is a nice consolation prize, but that fight was all DSG. And it was really DSG from the setup, too. I mean, once that pick doesn't connect on Tenacity, there's no more fight to be had there, Kangas. Like, Mirage Alliance cannot hang. And I know that Alorum got picked. It didn't look good. It's a really good take from DSG, but I don't know why Mirage Alliance are contesting that. There is just no way they win a fight. They have to play that out slow. They have to let DSG start it, and maybe they can get some poke down. But there's just no play. There's no world where that works out.
And we've seen them do that multiple times.
Yeah.
Earlier in this series, game 1, they did that as well, where group up for an objective, but they just don't all commit at the same time. They're a little off in their positioning. And this time around, even with picks that might be a little more, forgiving for situations like that, they just haven't gotten enough of a lead here. RJS on the Tristana has not been able to crack these turrets. It was actually the Smolder of all things that got them that first turret. So if you're looking at Mirage backs against the wall, they got to keep playing this one out. It's really down to Prismal, I see, as the main win condition at this point.
Well, can we get the Smolder stacked up enough? Can Prismal... I mean, one of the parts of the latest change here from Mirage Alliance, who... And they started their season off changing out their marksman last second.
Yeah.
But if you're 125 this part of the game, that's pretty brutally far behind.
Yeah, we're at 20 minutes.
The average is like 23 minutes, and we're 100 stacks away from Prismal, being to that, late game savior.
You know how we do this?
At this rate, it's not enough stacks even for the soul point, or the soul that is available for DSG. They have soul point security.
You know how we do this, Cubby? Every single jungle camp now belongs to Prismal, and he better clear them all with that Q ability. Let him stack up, because if you do not get Smolder to 225 by the time the next fight happens, you are not going to win that fight. And I don't even know if they have the time. DSG on Baron spawn are going to start it up.
I don't mind it. I think DSG has actually put out a pretty nice game. I think that just pulling Mirage Alliance in, if you can use this to get poke, Nui will get off the shield from Dardoch.
Lorm has TP, but he can only TP into the pit.
Yeah, here
Nasty's on the flank. There we go. Teleport coming in here. Prismal throws out the ultimate, but Dardoch's already low. Parry survives. Dardoch will fall. Tenacity with the flank. Jumps onto a Lorm. RJS is not doing any damage in this fight. Man. It's up to Prismal, and he can't even get in there. Double kill to Young as Mirage Alliance. The wheels are falling off. RJS chased down. Will push away Minui. Is now Prismal. Okay, he's playing on the edge right now, trying to bait Minui in maybe, but it's looking like Mirage are just going to have to give over this Baron.
And hey, I do want to say, I know that this series has been, a little out there, a little back and forth, as some of our teams haven't made some plays. This has been a good game from this guys. I think this guys, like the way they put out this game, focus on the Dragons, make sure they're getting that. Setting Smolder behind this Baron bait was played out really well. Is going to try and keep Will out of the pit. Tenacity holding the door.
Will's got to make the miracle happen right here, right now. He already uses the body slam forward on Tenacity, which means no play for the steal. RGS on the flank, but everybody else is moving forward. Dardoch goes down, and Mirage Alliance lose another member with the objective. RGS just rocket jumps in, and now doesn't have rocket jump anymore. So Poom can try and chase him with the help of Minui, with the help of Parry. Rocket jump once more for RGS, but he is going to fall. Teleports in. Immediately dies, and Mirage Alliance are now going to have their backs even further against the wall. That's Baron buff to DSG with a massive gold lead.
Baron buff up, and I mean, guys, keep in mind for Mirage Alliance, they're 1-6, not 1-5 on the scoreboard. They're 1-6. They have one series left against FlyQuest Challengers Sunday of next week, and if they don't win that, it's over. I mean, this is pretty much death's door. This is the promotion relegation tournament now knocking for them. I don't know, man. It feels bad. We just haven't really seen this, Mirage Alliance show up, put together a series. And I know we talked about both teams showing up. I do feel like Disguise really showed up in the second game.
Yeah, I'm happy that you highlighted that so much, because they are playing this one in a way that we've been hoping DSG would approach games. This is pretty clean play. They're not making the same over-aggressive mistakes that we've seen in past series where they were up in the series and then, fall behind afterwards. This is a very good look for DSG as they're hoping to avoid that tournament themselves. A win here starts it off, but they got two relatively, easier opponents ahead of them in their next series as well. And if this is the version of DSG that shows up, I think they got a really good chance here. Even if Tenacity is going to get picked in the side lane, he's going to try and buy as much time for the team. They're taking turrets. Tenacity is absorbing so much damage right here. Flashes in. No way. No way Tenacity can outplay this. Prismal's got so much peel behind him, but the drain tankiness from Tenacity, he just will not die. 1v3, are you kidding me? Tenacity! What was that?
That's
in a 1v3 situation, he takes that Prismal. Yeah, he'll fall to RJS, but this is the DSG that was promised. This is the DSG that everybody wanted to see. Tenacity looking dominant here as the fourth member appears. He still won't fall. He's going to kill Will. Can he get RGS? Big shutdown for RGS, but meanwhile, the game is ending. DSG are in the base. Tenacity was a 1v4, and he wins the team the game. DSG keep their playoff hopes alive as they make quick work of Mirage Alliance.
And props to DSG. I know Minui said it at the start of his day on Twitter. It's a do or die situation and game. And hey, Disguised, I mean, Game 1 was sloppy. They managed to find a win with Tenacity backdoor, and then Tenacity just 1v4 at the end, making sure that the rest of his team could backdoor, kind of paying it back, right?
Yeah, both games essentially came down to Tenacity ensuring a backdoor happened. Just very different circumstances that we saw the backdoor.
It's so funny. Because, like, there's this legacy of, like, 100 Thieves Aatrox. It's like a joke that everyone that plays for 100 Thieves is a good Aatrox player. It's like, it was someday. Sniper's Aatrox is damn good right now. Tenacity was up there. It's kind of nice seeing him pop off on a champ that we've known Tenacity for. I think he's been a strong performer for this guys for most of the split. Really showing up in that one to ensure that they move themselves not only out of the relegation zone, but they now control their own destiny. Their next 2 matches up against Lit and AoE. Those are the 2 teams that are now tied with them at 2 wins in the standings. If they win themselves at least one of those games, they're out. They do not get relegated.
Yeah, and that would be great for the defending champs, specifically for Young, as he's looking to keep his season alive. We're going to send it to a short break here before we are back with an interview of one of the victorious members from DSG. You won't want to miss it. We'll be back after this.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back as we are here with our post-series interview with the victorious mid laner from DSG, Young. Congratulations, Young, on the victory, and also some incredible play. I know game 1, we were talking a little bit before going live, got a little wacky, but we still felt that your performance individually was very solid. So seems like things might be turning around for the team as you're making a late-season surge to try and make that playoff spot. Was there any extra pressure on the team, though, knowing that you were up against Mirage Alliance here, and it was almost a do-or-die for the team?
I mean, not really. They're one of the also like the lower place teams. Like obviously, we can't really say much. We're 9th, so. But I think this is one of the easier matches for the split, so it wasn't that much pressure, at least for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys moving forward have the real chance to kind of control your own destiny. Now sitting at 2 wins, you're tied in the standings, I believe, in wins 2 with Lit, who you play later on, as well as AoE, the 2 teams you have to go both at 2 wins. You know, what's that feel like for you? I know that it hasn't been the start to the split that you like, but to ensure that you can at least make playoffs and control your own destiny moving forward. Is that something that's kind of exciting about the upcoming weeks you guys have? Like, does that kind of change the attitudes or mentalities in practice at all behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, stage matches are always fun. There's a lot of pressure, and I think pressure makes it fun. So it's gonna be fun securing hopefully securing our spot in playoffs. And I'm glad there's like actually something to play for, because usually towards the end, the matches don't mean much. End of the season.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy you talk about pressure, because in the past year, we talked about pressure a lot with you last spring, because you actually got to play LCS before you played in the NACL. And I remember you mentioning like, okay, well, that was the most pressure. So now the rest of the, the season doesn't feel as as stressful. What's the pressure been like this year, and how does it compare to what you were feeling last year with your environment then?
Honestly, the only pressure I feel right now is just we need to get more wins. Like, everyone on the team is really good, and we're honestly underperforming for what our roster is. So that's just the biggest pressure I feel. But outside of that, like it's spring split, it's early in the year, so yeah, like spring split doesn't matter, I guess, is like my cope. But yeah, we're slowly improving. So
yeah, that's good. I did want to ask you like one kind of gameplay centered question, because you're the only mid laner so far that's busted out the tank Azir, kind of like taking over solo queue. This is the second time you've played it now. What's the strength of you for this pick? Like, why? Like, what are kind of like the conditions that you're going to go this build versus the more standard Nashor's Lich Bane or a Rush like that?
Honestly, in scrims, I've tried both builds, and the tank Azir honestly just feels better. Like, for me, like every game, regardless of what's going on, for the most part, I think it doesn't actually lack damage, even though you are building tank items. So I just like going it a lot. It makes you really tanky, and you can like bait enemies.
You're able to be that, engage as well and survive a little bit longer. So I do love seeing that too. Well, Young, we're going to let you get out of here. But before we do, any final shout outs that you have? Anybody at home that you want to give a special nod to?
Yeah, not my family, not my girlfriend, no one, just Toast. It's subscribe to his Patreon. It's $5. I'm scrambling.
What about the chatters that he was banning for every death you guys had? Are you going to shout out them at least?
I mean, F for them, like, you can F's in the chat for them, like, it is what it is. Life's unfair.
F's in the chat and 07's in the chat for the Fallen, for all the deaths. But hey, congratulations on the 2-0 and the victory. And best of luck going in to prep for the rest of your matches. You still have the chance to make playoffs. We're going to let you go, Young, and close out the series, close out the show on our end. Yes, Cubby?
I think they're pretty much in playoffs, honestly. I mean, they have Lit and AoE. Yeah. They do have to win one of those series, but I think especially like how Lit's looking of late, that team's been getting blown out in lane phase. They need to buff up their laning, and Disguise is a team where, kind of like Young said, like, hey, we have talent, like, and we saw them lane really well in that last game against Mirage Alliance. So yeah, that's definitely a matchup to look out for if you're a Disguise fan. I feel like a win for either of the upcoming best of threes would be really big for making sure we can see this team in playoffs.
And there's going to be a lot of people rooting for them. We know that Disguise is a popular team here in the NACL. So let's take a look at the updated standings to see what that road looks like and how close we are in the race for playoffs. This is still week 7. There's one more week after this, and this is only day 1. So there's a lot of room for this to still move around here, Cubby. But we do see DSG. This is the first time in a while that we've seen them outside of that bottom 2. I'm sure that feels really good for the guys.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mirage Alliance pretty much solidifying they're going to be a bottom 2 team with that loss. Their last match of the year is against FlyQuest Challengers. So good luck, as we've highlighted quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, I will say props to Fear. They're keeping things a lot closer. I came into the day saying that I felt like Supernova was soundly a top 3 team. I'm going to stick with that. I know they dropped the series to Fear. I still put them closer with the top group rather than the rest of the pack. But hey, Fear's proving that they're keeping it close, and maybe they deserve to be in the conversation for one of the stronger teams we have in the top half as well.
Yeah, I mean, it feels fantastic for them to catch back up to that 50-50 win record in games, have the series record as well behind them, so they're solidifying themselves in playoffs going forward. But that's a final update here for day 1 of week 7 for the standings. Like I said, a lot more league will still happen this weekend, so that's going to be changing, but we're going to keep a close eye on it from this point forward because the big playoff implications are going to be important to track, especially with how many teams are still hovering close to each other towards the bottom right there. The race for the last spot will be tight. Thanks so much for everybody for tuning in, though, for day 1 of week 7 broadcast. Thanks, Cubby, for being a fantastic co-caster with me, everybody in production for keeping the gears rolling, and everyone for cheering on their favorite players. We're going to be rating twitch.tv/Cupic to go say hi, give them those 7s from NACL. We'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Actually, no, not same time, right? Because LCS is back. We'll see you back tomorrow after the LCS. Future of the LCS starts after it tomorrow. We'll see you there.